Om Sri Sai Ram. Om Sri Sai Ram. Offering my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved God and Guru, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Respected elders, my dear sisters and brothers, loving Sai Ram to one and all present here. We are all in the midst of festive season. Yesterday was Dhanteras, and tomorrow happens to be the very, very holy festival of Diwali. Tomorrow's festival is extremely special to us because it also happens to be the Avatar Declaration Day, the iconic Avatar Declaration Day of our beloved Bhagwan. Today, I had the opportunity to accompany students as we went for a cycling practice ride across the outskirts of Bangalore. We planned for an 80-kilometer ride, and because of Swami's grace, we just came back. Everything went on safely, and I asked one of the students who had a smartwatch, "Did you measure the distance that we covered in your smartwatch?" He said, "Yeah, I did, and it was slightly less than 85 kilometers. So what I did was, I went around the college Ganesha, and after I went around, it became 85 kilometers. While I was walking from the hostel till here, I was wondering what is the significance of 85 kilometers. And then it struck me that tomorrow happens to be the 85th anniversary of Avatar Declaration Day of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. When Bhagwan is in our lives, as Swami says, it is always Nitya Kalyanam Pachatoranam, which means every day is a festivity when Bhagwan's in our lives. Yesterday being Dhanteras, I just went around to a shopping center nearby, and I found huge queues outside gold and silver shops because people have the belief that if you buy gold or any expensive thing on Dhanteras, it brings a lot of wealth and prosperity to the family. Once, Swami asked this very prescient question to people seated around him. What is the greatest good fortune that one can have? People answered in several ways, and finally Swami gave the answer. The greatest good fortune that one can have is to be the contemporary of the Avatar. By contemporary, Swami said, just by being on the same planet during the time when Avatar has taken birth is the greatest good fortune that one can have. Swami did not end there. Swami said, even greater fortune is to not just be a contemporary of the Avatar, but to also know that such and such being is the Avatar. Swami further went on to say, an even greater fortune is to know the Avatar and also be devoted to the Avatar. And finally, Swami said, the greatest good fortune that one can have is to be a contemporary of the Avatar, to know the Avatar, to be devoted to the Avatar, and to be also part of the mission of the Avatar and to serve him is the greatest good fortune that one can have. Today, as a part of the 173rd episode of Samarpan, we have the great fortune of listening to Sri Jayanto Bose, whose entire family has had the great good fortune of serving in Bhagwan's mission. As we explore the various aspects of Bhagwan's divinity. Every avatar has its unique symbol. When we think of Lord Rama, the first thing that comes to our mind is the Kodanda. When we think of Lord Krishna, the first thing that comes to our mind is the iconic flute of Sri Krishna. When we think of our beloved Bhagwan, I think the first symbol that comes to our mind is the Sarva Dharma symbol, which was designed by Bhagwan himself. And I just wanted to point out that now we are celebrating the centenary year. 50 years ago, Bhagwan inaugurated the Sarva Dharma Stupa in Prashanti Nilayam, and it was Sri Jayanto Bose's father, Brigadier Bose, who was involved in the construction of the Sarva Dharma Stupa in Prashanti Nilayam 50 years ago. Jayanto Bose's family was blessed by Swami to have the privilege of being part of the construction of several iconic buildings, both at Brindavan and at Puttaparthi. Sri Jayanto Bose completed his bachelor's in architecture from IIT Kharagpur in 1973 and his post-graduation in industrial design in the year 1975. After working for a brief period in the country, he left for Nigeria with Swami's blessings in the year 1978. After returning from Nigeria, he set up a design consulting office in Pune in 1984. His father, Brigadier Bose, was given the opportunity to supervise the construction of several buildings, iconic buildings, like our own Brindavan hostel, which was inaugurated by Swami during the summer course of 1977, followed by the Institute Auditorium and also the beautiful Trai Brindavan. In Prashanti Nilayam, Brigadier Bose was involved in the construction of the academic buildings, Institute Auditorium, the administrative block, Shanti Vedika, and also the very, very iconic Swami's super speciality hospital. The construction of Western Canteen which began in the year 1983 was a family affair for Bose's family because it was Sri Jayanto Bose who designed the Western Canteen after being commissioned by Swami to design it. And it was his father, Brigadier Bose, who supervised the construction of the Western Canteen, which was again inaugurated by Bhagwan himself as a part of 60th birthday celebrations in the year 1985. His brother, Colonel Bose, had the great fortune of being a part of Swami's mission and being the caretaker and supervisor of Sri Sathya Sai Chaitanya Jyoti Museum in Prashanti Nilayam till he merged in Swami a few years ago. When we think of Avatar, we always think of the magnificent powers that the Avatar has. And it was on the Avatar Declaration Day in the year 1988 in the Purnachandra Auditorium in Prashanti Nilayam that Swami gave a glimpse of the magnificent glory of his avatar. When Swami resurrected Jayanto Bose's father, Brigadier Bose, when his life left his body, and right in front of the entire audience, Swami resurrected him back to life. And this was an iconic occasion, a very memorable occasion to all the devotees across the world, which happened again during the Avatar Declaration Day. With reverence and gratitude, I would now like to invite Sri Jayanto Bose to share his immense wealth of love and blessings and experiences he and his entire family has been blessed with all of us. Sri Jayanto Bose. Thank you, Sai Ram.
My humble pranams at the lotus feet of my dearest Lord. Sai Ram to all of you. I pray to Swami to give me this opportunity and privilege to share my experiences over the last 50 years or so and compress it within an hour so that I can convey some of it to you. So I begin with this thought that many of these experiences that Swami gave me, for a long time I thought that these were personal lessons for me. Much later, I realized that yes, it was personal, but this had to be shared with others as well, because Swami wanted these lessons to be spread. So I begin without much ado, and to be allowed to tell you that most of our experiences, many of my experiences happened within 200 meters of where I'm standing right now in Brindavan. So I'll begin with the construction of the Brindavan Hostel number 1. My father, as was introduced, Brigadier Bose, started construction of this in the year 1976. It was February of 1976 when we started construction of this hostel number 1. A little background of what happened. The students of, the very few students who were there used to stay within Swami's residence. And Swami was very concerned that they needed a place of their own, and he wanted a hostel to be constructed. The site chosen for this hostel was where your present academic or the academic block is. And the students refused to go there, saying that it was too far and they wanted to be near Swami's residence. The area where this hostel building now stands was actually a dried up lake. It used to be a pond rather, which was filled up. And many of the consulting engineers of Bangalore said that you couldn't construct a large building on it because it was soft soil. And but Swami wanted it done, and he asked my father, and my father said yes. In his army experience, he had constructed many buildings in such poor soil conditions. And if it was Swami's sankalpa, yes, it could be done. So my parents moved here in February of 1976. Unfortunately, at that time, Brindavan was nothing like what you can see now. There was no accommodation for married people. My mother and father came. They were staying separately because there was nothing available for them. Mr. Ram Brahma Garu, who was then caretaker and in charge of the ashram, told Swami after a few days that they're having a problem because they couldn't stay anywhere nearby. So Swami said, no problem, ask them to stay in my residence. So my parents moved to Swami's residence and stayed on the ground floor of Swami's residence in what was Mother Ishwarama's room. And they stayed there for more than 1 year, with Swami staying above them and, they on the ground floor. It was a small room, but the privilege of staying under Swami's actually direct feet was something which was unique. And they stayed there for, as I said, more than a year until early 1977. My elder brother, Colonel Bose, as was mentioned, was in army service, and he had a professional problem which he wanted Swami's blessings for. So he came to Brindavan, and father assumed that he would not be allowed to stay inside, so he was looking for a place outside in Kadugodi. When my father asked Swami, he said, no, let him come and stay with you. But the room was small, so 3 people couldn't stay. So at night, my brother and my father used to sleep in the adjacent room, which was the interview room. So during the day, it used to be Swami's interview room. In the evening, my brother and father used to sleep the night. So this went on, and Swami blessed my brother, told him that don't worry about your problems, it will be solved, and he created a silver ring for my brother and said, Swami is there to take care, don't worry. Early 77, my parents moved to what was called Dixit Bungalow, which is near the main entrance, the present entrance where the security is. There used to be a barrack-like structure called Dixit Bungalow. That's where they moved to. Around November of 76, Swami gave my father the additional job of constructing the 1,000-seat auditorium with your college auditorium, and said that both the buildings, the hostel building as well as the auditorium, have to be completed before summer course of 1977. You may have seen or realized that the dining hall of the hostel number 1 can seat about 600 people. The reason being, Swami wanted the participants of summer course to also dine there, in addition to the students. So that is why you find it, slightly bigger than what was required. The other thing which you have seen is the kind of a basement of the hostel, and that was because it was on soft soil. And so in engineering terms, it is called a raft foundation. A raft foundation was constructed in reinforced concrete, and the building constructed over it. So before my father came here in February of 76, as was told to you, that he was asked to construct the Sarvadharma Stupa Stamba in Puttaparthi, and that was on the occasion of Swami's 50th birthday. It so happened that the contractor who was constructing it couldn't finish it in time, and he just ran away from the site, and it had to be completed. So my father was given 60 days to complete, and with the help of devotees and Sevadal, it was all done in time. One striking incident during the construction, my father was not aware so much about the climatic conditions in south of India. As you probably know, in the northern part of the country, the rainy season ends by September or so. It starts in June, finishes in September. In the south, it is not so. It goes beyond that. So father was given the task, as I said, of constructing it, and it was 50 feet in height to commemorate Swami's 50th birthday. So it is a complicated structure, and the formwork, that is, in which the concrete is laid, was done in mud. And it so happened that during the day it was all completed, Swami had just mentioned to my father that cover it with tarpaulin. But father did not realize the significance of what Swami had said. And in the middle of the night, around 2 o'clock, there was a heavy downpour, extremely heavy downpour that sometimes happens in Puttaparthi. My father woke up thinking that all the day's work, all the effort by so many devotees would be just washed away. And he felt extremely bad because of, there's so much of effort that has gone into it. At first light, as soon as, it was daylight, he went down to see, and he saw something which is a miracle. Around the periphery of the Sarvadharma Stupa was totally dry, and the rest of the area was flooded with water. Swami came around for his morning visit, and my father was there, and father said, "Swami, I apologize, I didn't listen to you." He said, "Seva done by devotees with devotion, Swami will never allow any damage or harm to happen." So this was a lesson that true seva with devotion is what Swami wants. And he showed his power, that he can control nature if he wants to. Had this been a commercial building, probably Swami wouldn't have done it. But because it was done by sevaks, everybody who was there in Puttaparthi in 1975 was able to participate in this. So that's one lesson we learned, that so after this, after Swami's 75th birthday, since my father had come, in a hurry from Calcutta, where he was staying then, Swami told him after the birthday celebrations to go back and come and return to Puttaparthi by Sankranti of 1976. In 76, after Sankranti, Swami brought my father, my parents, to Brindavan and showed him the site, and that's where the hostel was constructed. I could not come here because of lack of accommodation. So the first time I came here was during summer of 1977. Soon after that, after the conclusion of the summer course, I accompanied, and my parents also, to Prashanti Nilayam, where Swami granted me my first interview and said that, "I know you want to go abroad to work, success hoga." In January of the following year, 1978, I did get an offer from Nigeria, and I wrote to my father that I have this offer, should I accept it? And father asked Swami, and Swami said, "Yes, I told your son he will go. Yes, let him accept it." Fine. I accepted the offer, and in February that year, I came to Brindavan to meet my parents because it was a 3-year contract, and I thought I probably will not be able to meet them during that period. So I came to meet my parents and also to seek Swami's blessings. It also happened to be my birthday during that time, and in those days you could give a flower to Swami and also give him a garland. He would, touch it on his neck and then return it to you. So I did that, and that day we were leaving for Bombay. My father was director of IIT. He was the founder director of IIT Bombay. And it was the 20th anniversary. He was invited to speak on that particular occasion. As I said, we were leaving that afternoon. Swami called me in the morning and said that, "When are you going?" I said, "Swami, I'm going in the afternoon." So he called me. He called me for an interview and said, "Yes, go, but come back to India later." And he also said, "Get married before you go." Now that came as a complete shock because, I was waiting for my tickets to come and leave any day, and Swami is asking me to, my visa had already been issued by the Nigerian High Commission, and Swami is asking me to get married. Seeing my hesitation, Swami said, "Shadi karoge to ring dega." So I said, "Fine, this is a bargaining, something to bargain with." So I said, "Swami, I'll get married if you select the girl." He said, "All right." Then I got emboldened. I said, "Swami, I'll get married if you oversee the wedding ceremony." He said, "All right, I'll do that as well." I said, "Then that's no problem. Then, the rest is not so important. This was most important." So Swami said that you're going to Bombay today, and ask your mother to to see a girl in something to that extent. It was not very specific, in Bombay. We went to Bombay, and my father, anyway, all went to Bombay. My father delivered his talk in IIT Bombay, and because of the construction that was going on here, he came back to Brindavan. He asked me to accompany my mother to Calcutta because there were some things to be done, telephone connections had to be, some, which he couldn't do it from here, bank lockers and telephone and something. He just said that before you go to Nigeria, just finish off these things and your mother will come back. We dropped father at the airport in Bombay to come back to Bangalore, and on the way we just happened to drop in at our family friend's house, and my mother and myself. And so this happened to be my wife's place actually. Her elder brother and I we knew each other in IIT Bombay. He was doing his undergraduate studies, I was doing postgraduate. So we met briefly for a cup of tea. I talked to him, and we left. And we went on, and the next day we left for Calcutta. In the meantime, father comes back to Brindavan. After 1 or 2 days, Swami asks him, "Where is your son?" So he said, father said, "Swami is gone to Calcutta." Why? Swami to look for a girl. And Swami was angry. He was furious. He said, "Who asked him to go to Calcutta?" "I asked him to go to Bombay. The girl is in Bombay. Why is he gone to Calcutta?" Now, my father knows nothing about it. We dropped him at the airport, and this is what had happened. So he rings us up in Calcutta and says, "Look, did you all see a girl?" So my mother said, "Yes, that's the girl. Please, that's the one you have to finalize." So that's how it happened. And we got married. Unfortunately, we were actually supposed to get married here in this Kalyan Mandapam, but it didn't happen for some reason or the other. And so we got married, came back to Brindavan to be told that Swami had already left for Ooty. Now, time was short. I was to leave to Nigeria. So we went to Ooty, and Swami saw me there and said, "Have you brought your wife?" I said, "Yes." "Where is she?" "On lady's side." "Okay." And there he tells us that, "Yes, I will bless you all as a couple in Brindavan. I'm going to Brindavan on such and such day," which was just 2-3 days later on. So we come back to Brindavan. Swami calls us, and he had everything ready. Jewelry for my wife, sari, angavastram, and the promised ring. So Swami gave me the ring and tells my wife, "Next year, son lekar aao." And this was something absolutely stunning. We are just married. It's an arranged marriage. We don't know each other really well. And Swami says, "Next year, son lekar aao." And we are off to Nigeria. Well, that's how it happened. So anyway, the following year, in 1980, our son is born, and we bring him here. We bring him to Prashanti Nilayam for naming ceremony. He names him Sai Gunaranjan and explains to us what it means, the meaning of it, and tells my wife, "Amma, you'll have one more issue. She'll be a girl, and I'm naming her now. And I'm naming her Sai Sumana." And he explained to us the meaning of that. He didn't say when it will happen. All right? So I go off to Nigeria. My wife is here during the summer course of 1978, while we sort out her passport and visas and so on. Swami would see her in darshan line and ask her, "Where is your son?" And she's married just few days, and it was very, very embarrassing for her because, you have also so many ladies around, and suddenly they're wondering what has happened, where is this? And she, in fact, used to start hiding from Swami when Swami came nearby, just to avoid this kind of questioning from her. See, can you imagine that? Trying to avoid Swami's gaze. But anyway, that's what happened. I was coming back to India. My son was born in Bombay. I was coming back to India. My flight was through Rome. And I was coming back to India after 1.5 years, and I was wondering that, whether we will get a chance to meet Swami or will he speak to us, whatever it is. And these are, you can call it coincidences, you can call it what you may. It's for each of you to decide. It so happened that I'm sitting in the plane, I have Swami's ring on, and my probably hand was on the armrest. There was an Italian gentleman sitting next to me. He asked me, because that particular ring had Swami's image on it. So he asked me, "Is that Sai Baba?" I said, "Yes." "Sathya Sai Baba?" "Yes." So in Italian, he couldn't speak English. He asked me, was it given by Swami? I said, "Yes." So he got all excited, like Italians normally do. And he started, talking very excitedly. Then I realized it was a group of about 30 Italians who were coming to India. I saw them in the lounge, but I didn't know that they were devotees. So one of them who could speak English came over and said that we are devotees, we are from the Rome Samiti, and we are going to Prashanti Nilayam. And this gentleman sitting next to you is the president of the Samiti. And so he's asking you whether the ring was given by Swami. I said, "Yes." So he said, I'm coming for the third time. Then he explained, "This year." So third time, 3 times he's a photographer, and he came. So when we came to Prashanti Nilayam with my 2-month-old son for naming ceremony, this entire group of 30 Italian devotees were all there. And I told them, I said that, we are going to Puttaparthi for this particular purpose. So, so they're all excited, and this is what happened after the naming ceremony, So let me go back to how I joined the fold. In 1970, I had just completed my second year of architecture in IIT Kharagpur. I was doing a summer apprenticeship in Calcutta, in architectural office. And amongst the people who were working there was a senior of mine who had passed out 4 or 5 years ago. And he was a Sai devotee. And during the course of our interactions, he said, about Swami, this. And we were, as many you can imagine, we were making fun of Swami. He's this, he's that. Come on, he can't materialize, he can do all. And he was getting excited. He was very agitated. I'm telling you, it's true. And we were all making fun of it. Come on, can't happen like that. So he said, "All right, you don't believe me? In the evening after office, I'll take you to someone's house where you can see vibhuti and honey coming out." So we went, and we went to this lady's house and actually saw. And it had a profound effect on me, seeing that. And she was not a devotee. It just happened to, somebody gave her Swami's picture, which she kept in the puja room, and, suddenly vibhuti started coming in. Much later, I get to know this senior of mine, whose name was M. Sudhakar, was a grandson of Sri Kasturi. He was a grandson of Kasturi. And he was speaking about his grandfather. My grandfather lives there. He said, "Oh, come on, that's not a big deal. Grandfather's retiring to an ashram is, so what?" But he was Kasturi's grandson. And I connected with him recently. He's in the US now. And I reminded him, I said that, you, Sudhakar, you were instrumental in making me join the fold. He said, "Really? I didn't know. I just brought you, because none of the others were impressed. It was out of the few who went, it was only I who seemed to be I was impressed, and I really felt it that way. So we are off to Nigeria now, and every time we used to come for holidays, Swami would catch us and say, "Where's your daughter?" Son is, he's gradually, every summer we would come, and Swami would kind of scold us that, this time you have come with 6 legs, next time you must come with 8 legs. Okay, all right. We never know what Swami has. In December of 1983, while we were in Puttaparthi, a military coup took place in Nigeria. And there was bloodshed initially. The civil government was overthrown, the military government took over. And my father said that, "Look, before you go back, you must ask Swami what to do. So that's easier said than done, and we followed Swami to into Brindavan, and Swami in the darshan line, I was able to speak to him, and I asked Swami, what should I do? He said, come back. Vatavaran acha nahi hai Nigeria mein, wapas aa jao. But he didn't say when. So anyway, we go back, and I send my family, that is my wife and son, as soon as I could. I could come back much later on because I had to resign from my job. I had to see that my ongoing projects were sort of taken care of. And we came back in the September of 1984, went to Puttaparthi for Navratri celebrations of 1984, and after Navratri, Swami called us for an interview. Before we came to India, we liked Bangalore very much, and we thought, that will be the ideal place for us to start life, because we went away just soon after we got married. So Swami called us and said, where do you want to stay now? I said, Swami, Bangalore. No, Bangalore is not good for you. Now, there was no plan B. We assumed that Swami would agree because my parents were either in Brindavan or in Prashanti Nilayam. We thought Bangalore is a good place, good school. Why would Swami say no? I mean, we just assumed that he would say yes. But he said no. And in desperation, I said Pune, because he said yes. Go to Pune and build a house there, not very big, but 3 bedrooms. All right, we went back. At the same time, Swami gave me the task of designing a building for overseas devotees in Prashanti Nilayam. So it was to be the Western canteen on the ground floor and 3 floors above that for female and male devotees, overseas devotees who come to stay there. This was, if you know, it was in the middle of 2 round blocks, so I had designed it to be the same height as the adjacent round blocks. We constructed the ground floor, which was made into the canteen, and opened for Swami's 60th birthday in November of 1985. For reasons best known to Swami, the construction of 1 more floor was undertaken, and then it was stopped. So the building looks slightly out of proportion because it is slightly shorter than the adjacent buildings, but then Swami knows best. The upper floor, as you probably know, houses the offices of Vidya Vaini. So while during this construction was done by my father, so it was, as was said, a family affair. I was able to design the building, and my father constructed the building. He supervised the construction. During that time, Swami used to come regularly to visit, and on one occasion he said, get into my car. So I got into Swami's car, and we drove to the Hillview Stadium, which was then just getting ready, and the Shanti Vedika, which was to be also opened for Swami's 60th birthday. And while in the car, which was driven by Radhakrishna ji, he noticed my ring. Now, it was an oval-shaped ring with Swami's image on it, and due to, I have to go to construction sites, it had got chipped slightly. So Swami saw that ring and said, oh, this is the map of Sri Lanka, he came back, and then he called me, and he changed that ring to another one, which was rectangular in nature, but Swami's image on it. All right. Then came the question of admitting my son, and he said, Swami will admit him. In that time, the school was in Ooty. And he said, yes, English medium school, Delhi board, was trying to canvass how good the school was. I said, Swami, yes, if you want him, yes, we will certainly. Then he said, no, he's too young. I will give him admission later on. So it's all right, Swami, you know best. So the next few years, we were trying to settle down. Swami asked me to, as I said, settle down in Pune. We were trying to do what we could. Father was busy in doing the construction, as he said, of buildings here as well as in Prashanti Nilayam. Uh, in 1988, Swami was very concerned about the devotees who would be standing, sitting in the sand. In those days in Prashanti Nilayam, what you now see is Sai Kulvanthal was actually sand, river sand, and it was open to sky. So in summer months, the sand used to get heated, and Swami was not happy about it, and he wanted it to be concreted so that, what you see here. And this he wanted done before Navratri of 1988. And my father was given the task to be completed in the shortest possible time. And it was, it was a very intensive work, and father had to finish it because Swami for the duration came to Brindavan so that devotees don't go there, and hamper the construction work. So anyway, Swami came back to Prashanti Nilayam before Navratri, and on the Navratri day, which happened to be 20th October, it was Avatar Declaration Day, it was Vijay Dashami Day, and Swami was going to he started giving his discourse, the Vijay Dashami discourse, in the Purnachanda auditorium. It's chock-a-block with about 16,000 devotees, full, and father was sitting very close to the stage. Suddenly, while he just fell off the chair, he just fell off, like that. So there were several doctors, Dr. Patel, Dr. Chari, Dr. Alreja, they were all sitting nearby. So they immediately tried to come and render some sort of first aid, tried to see his pulse, there was no pulse, pulled up his eyelids were dilated. So they said, he is dead. There is no life in this body, it's a lifeless body. And they made him lie down on the floor of the Purnachanda auditorium. In the meantime, Swami had just started his discourse, and people who were there, I met somebody yesterday who was present at that time, and they said that they saw Swami standing on the stage and making this kind of a gesture, as if shooing something away. Nobody could understand what it meant. And soon, Swami just rushed down the stage to where my father's lifeless body was lying on the floor. And they say that, Swami's left hand was clenched like this. And he came to where my father's body was lying, and with a sharp knock on his shoulder, he, sort of opened this fist and told my father, "Bose, get up." And my father opened his eyes. It happened so fast that people generally thought that he had just blacked out, and it was just maybe hard work or whatever. Swami later clarified in Trai that it was not so, that he was actually dead. I brought him back to life because he had several work to be completed. So that is the reason why Swami brought. Now, father was then in his late 70s, and that's when Swami brought him back to life. Father also saw, when he was, in that state, a giant bird hovering above his body. Couldn't understand the significance. He had never seen it. It was a huge bird, and he, as an engineer's mind, he was trying to figure out how did this bird enter through the door, of Pundachan, because it was huge. Never mind the other significance. This is what actually an engineer's mind does, whether it is practical or not. So anyway, it appeared, and then soon after it went away. Again, I don't know what the significance is. People have said that probably he had come to take my father's soul, and then Swami, swept it away or whatever it is. But I don't know yet. So, father, as Swami said, that father had a lot of work to be done still. And this happened as I said, in October of 1988, and father was, afterwards he was fine. In 1991, Swami had already announced the project of the super specialty hospital in Puttaparthi. It was inaugurated in probably January of 1991, and an American devotee, very resourceful, had said that, Swami, I will pay for the construction and we will present it as our gift to you, a fully complete hospital. That is, the civil works, the equipment, everything. And Swami had announced the previous year, in 1990, on his birthday, that next year the hospital will be inaugurated before my birthday with a heart operation. All right? So, work apparently started. There were expatriate British engineers, project managers who had come, and but seemingly from outside, not much work could be seen. So Swami used to send Colonel Jogarao and say, go and see what is the progress. And he would come back and say that, Swami, yes, they have started. But it became increasingly evident that it would be very difficult to meet Swami's deadline. Come April of 1991, they finally came to Swami and said that, Swami, we can't complete it within this period. Kindly give us an extension. Swami said, no. I have already announced that it will be complete by my birthday. It will have to be complete. They said, Swami, we will not be able to do it because we just can't do it. We agreed to it, yes, but we can't do it. And also, our budget estimate has exceeded. We don't have enough funds. We will fund the equipment, but we don't have funds to complete the construction. Swami said, all right, never mind. You all can leave. And so they tried to argue with Swami that, how will you do it? Swami said, that's none of your business. I will do it. Don't worry about it. You can leave. May of 1991, we came to meet our parents here. I drove down from Pune to Brindavan, and we are sitting here, and I can see a lot of activities going on, people coming in, going out. And I asked my father, I said, what's happened? He said that, the earlier team have been asked to go, and, Swami is now setting up a new team to construct the hospital. All right? So General Madhavan was the state president of Tamil Nadu, a very good friend of my father, and I knew him as well. So I asked him very naively, I said, Uncle, is there any scope for any work in the hospital, any project? No, he said, no, it's all taken care of. I said, even if it's the construction of the boundary wall, that's also enough. I don't want to be part of the project, but even a little bit will do, because at that time it was something, nothing of that sort had ever been contemplated in Swami's, either in Brindavan or in Prashanti Nilayam. It was by far the most complicated and most costliest of projects. And I really felt that if I could be part of that. Anyway, when he said no, I accepted it. As I said, we had driven down from Pune, and some urgent work came up, and I had to go back for a day or two to Pune. I left my car and the family here, and I went back. As soon as I reached in the evening. The next morning, I get a phone call from my father saying, drop everything and come immediately to Brindavan. I said, what happened? He said, Swami has given us the project. I had asked for a part of the boundary wall. Swami has given us the entire project to execute and supervise. And Swami... And Swami told my father is now 82 years old. Swami told him, you will be in charge of the project, but call your son from Pune. Now, what happened was, I had gone back to Pune. The morning of 16th of May, That time the Sai Ramesh Hall was not there. It was open. My family was sitting for darshan. Swami gave darshan, and they were walking away towards the main gate when suddenly Hirok Shankar Koti came running back, running after them, saying that Swami has called you all for called the family for an interview. So Swami calls them to the interview room and tells my father that I want you to take charge of this hospital, and I want your son to be part of that thing. And he speaks to my wife, she's sitting here, that will you permit your husband to work for this project? Now, he is the Lord of the universe. Look at the humility of asking an ordinary devotee. I mean, somebody would give his right arm to be part of this project, and he's asking a devotee permission for her husband to be part of this project. And she said yes. Without any hesitation, she said yes, because she knew what it meant, and it was a chance of a lifetime. I mean, probably several lifetimes, I don't know what it is. And so I was asked to come back. I came back, and my task was we were supposed to take over the project. My main task was to go through all the available drawings and make a list of drawings that were not ready. And I was asked to open a design office on the project site, employ draftsmen to prepare drawings of which we did not have. So my instructions were that for no reason should construction work stop for want of drawings. If there's no drawings are available, I have to prepare the drawings. Well, so my car was here. We were told by Swami that go to Prashanti Nilayam and take charge of the project. 21st of May, my car's parked over here. That time there used to be a gate on the other side, that gate is now closed. We're leaving early morning on 21st of May when the security guard says, Rajiv Gandhi mar gaya. So, right? But our aim was to reach Puttaparthi. So we came out of the gate and we were driving this side. That time there was absolute wilderness here. I mean, Ravi Kumar sir will probably know better what it was like then. There was a factory here, and then after that there was nothing. So we go down a few kilometers and there is a village which we have to cross. And they had already blocked the road. They had put a tree trunk there and blocked the road, saying that you can't go. And so my father was trying to argue that no, we are going to Puttaparthi, we are not doing this. And Swami has said they couldn't be bothered. They seemed to be, slightly drunk, and they were arguing in Kannada, which we couldn't understand. And one of them started, removing the air from my tire of the car. So I told my father, I said that, Daddy, we should go back, because if they remove the tire, the air is removed from the tire, we are stuck. Then we can't do anything. Let's go back and ask Swami for further instructions. So we came back and immediately informed Swami that, Swami, we couldn't proceed because of this. And Swami sent word saying that, don't go, don't step out of the Brindavan ashram until I tell you. So 24th of May was Rajiv Gandhi's funeral, and 25th, Swami told us, now you can go. So we left on the 25th of May, 1991, to take charge of the project, the hospital project site in Prashanti Nilayam. So we reached there, and there are two other members. We are a team of 4 people. My father, Mr. Vittal, who was another civil engineer, and Mr. Sham Sharan, who was the electrical part, and I was supposed to be the architectural backup. So we go there and we ask the L&T people, the Larsen and Toubro were the contractors of the project, and they see us and they laugh to themselves that we had expatriate engineers from Britain and Europe to run the project, and look at these people, they are a bunch of oldies. My father was 82, the other two were in their mid-60s, I was the youngest at the age of 40. And they laughed and said, look at them, and for them, Sai devotees meant you can only sing bhajans, and they thought that, this lot, how can they even think of taking over the project? So it was an uphill task for us, and we had to literally prove that, okay, we can sing bhajans, but we are also professionally competent to do it. So it took us time to establish our credentials, and we established a working relationship with them in due course. So what had actually happened was, because there was this lacuna, there was a gap between the earlier team going away and us taking over, the contractors had no clear idea of what to do. So they were actually constructing the staff quarters instead of concentrating on the hospital building. So our first task was to give them a schedule, and which we did, and we made stages that this is the first priority, because Swami had said that it has to open with an heart operation. It's not the inauguration of the building, it is the inauguration of the hospital. So, all right, so this is going on now, and I was naive, although I was part of the construction of the Western Canteen and the overseas block. I was naive in the sense that I thought when Swami has said and given a deadline like this, it will happen, we just have to stand back and, things will automatically happen. It didn't happen that way, and it never does. And anything that could go wrong, went wrong. All kinds of problems, construction related, all kinds of problems happen, and we all had to be solved. Came a time, unfortunately, although Swami wanted me to set up a design office there, it was not possible. We had to rely on Larsen & Toubro's office in Chennai to do the drawing work, because we just couldn't manage in that short time. So we would send word to them that this is the drawing required, and they would send the drawing back. So the key person in this was the bus driver of the Puttaparthi Chennai bus. So he was our link. So we used to send the drawings or the details through him. The bus used to leave in the evening, reach Chennai in the morning. Somebody from L&T would be there to collect this thing, try to finish the drawing, and send it through back to him. So unknowingly, he did a lot of seva, and probably without him, we couldn't have finished in time. So that's how it was. That time there was no internet, communication was very bad, and our driver was our real help. So we are running behind schedule. Swami has said all this, and we knew that it's going to be very difficult to meet Swami's deadline. Shortly before Navratri of 91, we were given a special place in the darshan line where Swami would come and speak to us, and immediately after that we would leave for the site. One day Swami came and said, hospital engineers, come. He was very stern, no smile, and just the four of us and one vice president from Larsen & Toubro. 5 of us, Swami told us to go to the interview room. He didn't call anybody else that day. And we were sure that Swami is going to be very angry with us, that we have not been able to complete this. And sitting outside the interview room, we were all trying to rehearse answers, that if Swami asked, what should be the answer from us? Well, Swami came, still face very stern, no smile. He made us get into the room, shut the door from inside, switched on the light as he does, and looking at our face, he smiled. And he said, I have called you to let you know that the Prime Minister of India is coming to inaugurate the hospital. It was, an anticlimax, absolute anticlimax. We were expecting Swami to be angry at us, and Swami says, no, I'm happy with the progress. And what Swami has done in 5 months, the government would have taken 5 years to do. So he called us basically to give us safari suit lengths. We were in a cold sweat. We were expecting something, a stern warning that, we'll be very angry. And here Swami is telling us safari suit length. Okay, you 2.7 meters, you 3 meters, all this. And, nothing is sinking into us. So anyway, that's what happened. Swami called me aside and said, here is 500 rupees for the making charges. So I said, Swami, you're giving me a safari suit, that is more than enough. I don't want making charges. He said, no. If a father gives you something and if you refuse, it is a sign of ego. So accept it. So I said, okay, Swami, I will. Then Swami tells me that, Puttaparthi tailors are not good. Get the things stitched in Anandpur. Where Anandpur? We are working day and night, there is no time to go anywhere. Absolutely out of the question. We ultimately got a stitched in Puttaparthi itself. So, so this went on. Came a time when the angiocath lab in Puttaparthi Hospital was given, the Philips Holland were given a turnkey project that you will do this. Earlier, when Swami had made us part of the supervising team, in Trai, used to have a series of meetings with vendors, equipment vendors, all these subcontractors, electrical, electronics, all that. And Swami, as a very, many of you have seen Swami being a generous host, and Swami would keep on feeding us with amriti and this and that. We are more of an eating session inside than, working this. So that time, this gentleman from Philips Holland, a Dutch gentleman, had come. And he was also part of the thing. And we were discussing the parameters of the equipment and so on. So we go, the angiocath lab, as I said, was given to Philips. And the equipment came and with the proviso that it is a very sensitive equipment and it has to be opened in an air-conditioned, dust-free environment. What air-conditioned, what dust-free? And it was a very, very sensitive equipment. We made them open up and he would not open. We said, look, we'll sprinkle vibhuti on it, open it. Nothing will happen. Do it. We are taking the risk. Open it. So against his wishes, we made him open this equipment, set it up, and work was going on. So the day before, the hospital was supposed to be inaugurated on the 22nd of November. 20th of November, there was a angiocath procedure. One of the students actually in the hostel, he had some blockage in his arteries and he was to be the first patient to be treated in the angiocath lab. That night, around 9 o'clock or so, I was staying with my father and this Dutch gentleman who was the head of the medical equipment in Netherlands, there he says, please come, it's a miracle. Please come to the hospital. So what happened? No, you please come. My father was tired, he said that you go with him. And so I went there. So he takes me to the cath lab and he says that, it shows me in those days, the procedure had to be recorded on 70 millimeter film. And he showed me, he said that, this is the procedure we did today. Can you see the dye? So as you know, the dye is injected in the blood and then they see where the blockage is. So he said, can you see this? I said, yes. He said, do you know what is the thickness of this blood vessel? I said, no. He mentioned some micron. He said to me, for me it's a miracle. He said, I have been installing similar equipment all over the world. But this, I have never been able to achieve this resolution that I have seen today. And it is impossible because we opened the equipment in dusty atmosphere, there was no UPS, everything was against us. And this resolution that I have seen today, for me is the gold standard. Anywhere else in the world, if I can achieve this, for me it is nothing short of a miracle. It is not possible. So in our eagerness to complete the project in time, we submitted a proposal to Swami that, Swami, would you allow us to slightly simplify the external elevation of the building? Now, these, as you have seen, probably, there are about, maybe hundreds of pillars, which need to be sort of finished, and that is sthapati work. It's a skilled work. It has to be done by hand. So we asked Swami that we can try and do something in concrete itself which will make it faster. Swami said, no, you will not change anything externally. He said, if you do, they'll say, oh, because it's simplified, that's how Swami has been able to complete it. No, I will not allow you to do. Whatever it is, good, bad, you have to finish it. You have to follow the drawing and do it the way it is shown. Nothing, no shortcuts. Inside, you can do whatever you want. I'm not concerned. So inside we did, actually. We constructed an entire extra floor which was not there in the original design. So that's how, the Department of Nursing and all this thing has come up because of the extra space that we could create at a little extra cost. Because it was designed in the UK, and the British architects had designed it for something there. Say all services, air conditioning, gases, everything had to be enclosed. Whereas in India, we don't have to do that. We can do it externally, and throughout the year, we have access to it. So that space we could give the hospital, and hardly for anything extra. So that's how we went. So the super specialty hospital came, and we were able to actually inaugurate it on the days. And Swami wanted the Prime Minister to come, and Prime Minister came, and Swami was able to show him the actual operation taking place in the operation theatre, which was done by Dr. Venugopal. That's a different aspect altogether, the issues we had with doctors, but they are doctors, we are the engineers, and we had to solve the problems that they encountered. So this went on, and as after 91, Father was given a little bit of rest work-wise, and I wanted to stay on. And I requested Swami, I said that, Swami, we have just finished phase 1 of the project, which was the cardiothoracic wing. And can I stay on and finish the project? He said, no. You've been away from home for a long time. You go back. If Swami needs you, I'll call you. You go back now. So I reluctantly had to go back, and then Swami created a Navratna ring to me, and he said, I'm very happy, go. So off I went. Years passed, and in between, Father was given the task of making Swami's residence in Purnachanda Auditorium, the Swami's residence there. And that was in 1996, and that was the last project that Swami gave my father. He was then 85 years old, and Swami said, now enough. Now you take rest, you have done enough work. And so Father's not used to that, but still, he had to accept Swami's instructions. January of 1999, my mother suffered a stroke while sitting at home, and she did the day's cooking and sat down, and she just went blank. My father called her, Rani. She didn't respond. She just sat there closely. Some of the doctors from the general hospital were passing by our house, so Father called them, and they saw my mother and said, Uncle, I think she should be shifted to the hospital, and not to the general hospital, but to the super specialty hospital. So there was a devotee with a car, and my mother walked to the car, and she was taken to the hospital. Admitted there, and Father informed us, my brother, sister, myself. We all came from 3 different places, and we came to the mother. Mother was in the ICU, and we all came there, and she had lost the power of speech. So she smiled at us, but after a short while, she would just gesture us to go. And we were wondering that, we have come from far, and why is mother asking us to leave? I mean, then we thought that maybe she's worried about father being alone or don't know what. So I stayed back. My brother and sister would come and go. She passed away within the next 3 days. And it happens very early in the morning. And I was there, came back to the ashram and sent word to Swami that my mother had passed away. Early morning, Swami sent Mr. Dave, who was part of the Central Trust. He came with a sari and said, this is a sari which Swami has sent for your mother. It's a Bengali cotton sari of the color combination your mother was very fond of. So Swami has sent this sari for her to be draped because she died a sumangali. And so she has to be given a proper dress for cremation. And Swami has done that. And he also said that Swami has told you all to come to do the cremation during the day, and he would call you for an interview in the evening, during evening darshan. So we did as Swami instructed on the banks of Chitravati river, and strangely, when the funeral, in the funeral pyre, I mean, instead of a smell, we could smell vibhuti, smell, which was quite unusual. I mean, you don't expect vibhuti smell to come out from a funeral pyre. Anyway, so Swami calls us for an interview in the evening, just the family. As we enter, and we are obviously sad and our faces are solemn, we go into the room and Swami says, do not grieve, because this was your mother's last birth. There is no further birth for her. Swami also said that your mother was communicating with me all through in the hospital. And now it dawned on us that this is what probably my mother was trying to tell us, that, I am communicating with Swami, don't come in the way, just stay away, probably. Because otherwise we just couldn't understand why mother was telling, and the Swami is telling us that she was communicating with him. So that's what happened. Mother was affectionate mother like everybody else, and our conception of somebody who has reached that level was somebody very scholarly or pious or whatever. We underestimated our mother. We loved our mother, but we did not realize that she was such an evolved soul. It dawned on us later on. I wish we had realized it during her lifetime. Swami not only did that, he gave us rings. He changed my rings for the 3rd time, gave my brother a ring, and said that no cooking is to be done at your residence for the next 10 days. Swami sent all the meals, breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner, everything for 10 days. Sri Chiranjeevi Rao also told me later on that Swami had ordered Narayan Seva for 1,200 people in my mother's name. Again, this was something quite extraordinary. Almost a year after this, my father also had a stroke. And he could speak a bit, but not much. So this time he was shifted to the general hospital, and Swami sent instructions that no aggressive treatment is to be done. He was 92. And no aggressive treatment is to be done, just make him comfortable. He also told me that the Gayatri mantra has to be, if you can play the Gayatri mantra in his room. So we didn't have any cassette recorder, we borrowed it from some other devotee, and we bought this cassette, Gayatri cassette, and throughout the day, the Gayatri mantra was played in his room. On 26th of January 2000, Swami decided to visit my father in the hospital, in the general hospital. He hadn't come to the hospital or visited the hospital for the last 2 years. And then when the hospital authorities got to know that Swami is coming, and they went into a frenzy of cleaning and everything, day and night, they were given 1 day's notice, and they tried everything to clear him. So Swami came on 26th of January, and Swami had some problem walking that time. So they didn't want Swami to climb the steps. So my father was on the first floor. He was brought to a room on the ground floor, and Swami came and said, Bose, kaisa hai? So Swami, he could just barely whisper, Swami, acha. What do you want? He said, Mukti, Swami, Mukti. Mukti chahiye? Milega. And he gently rubbed his forehead, just like an affectionate mother doing to the child. He was just rubbed, very affectionately over his skull, and, and he's asked, we were all there, we asked us. And then he left. He left to the door of the room and then suddenly turned back. What had actually happened was, our father was placed on a bed, and a bed sheet or bed cover was draped over his legs. We did not notice it, but 1 foot of it was exposed. And Swami noticed it. He went up to the door, came back, lifted the cover, and covered my father's feet. And, so it was such a touching gesture on Swami that, who is Swami, that much, for a devotee? I mean, he did it in such an affectionate way, I probably cannot express it truly, because it was absolutely an astonishing and unique experience that we witnessed that particular day. So again, the next few days, Swami sent food for us, and it continued like that for the duration of the. So by then, my brother had already moved in Puttaparthi, and Swami had given him the task of supervising the construction of the Chaitanya Jyoti Museum. And after that was over, Swami said, all right, you run it. So he said, Swami, I'm an engineer, I don't know how to run a museum. He said, Sikh jaoge. So that continued till his death in the year 2022. Till 21, he ran the Chaitanya Jyoti Museum. In an interview in October of 94, my son was then a student in Puttaparthi. He was a school student. And we in Pune, my wife and I, we are part of a cancer support group where, we try to help in the screening and treatment of cancer patients. So as part of our activities, one drug company in Pune had said that we will sponsor so many thousand screenings of ladies who are in that age group, that is age group of 40 who had children. So they want to create a database of information of what is their health parameters. So before speaking to ladies and friends, my wife said that I might as well go and do the screening myself, because if people ask me, I should be able to answer what is involved. So when she did her ultrasound, the multiple gallbladder stones were detected, which she had no symptoms of, and the doctor there said that these are multiple stones. They have to be removed. So she said, look, I have no symptoms. He said, no, you may not have symptoms, you are young now, but as you grow older, it will probably manifest itself, and then the pain will be excruciating. So best is to remove it. Before that, she had a little bit of gynecological problem, which also required minor surgery. So the surgeon said that, okay, we will combine the two so that you don't have to be admitted twice. But my son was coming from Puttaparthi, this was between Dussehra and Diwali of 94. So we thought that, it's not such a serious matter, and so we can postpone it. So we postponed it, and we didn't get it done during this short stay in Pune. So I came to Puttaparthi to leave my son, and then Swami had called us for an interview, and he asked as usual, "Kya samachar, Rana samachar?" So I said, "Swami, wife has to undergo an operation." He said, "Why?" So I said, "She's been detected with multiple gallbladder stones." "No operation, no operation," he said to me. "Swami vibhuti deta hai, vibhuti deo, ऑपरेशन नहीं करना है." हाँ, वाइफ सोचता है कि कैंसर है, नहीं, कैंसर नहीं है, नो ऑपरेशन. So Swami, he came and gave few vibhuti packets. All right. So I came back to Pune, told my wife. I said, Swami has said no operation. Okay. Swami said no operation, no operation. That's simple. So we told the surgeon that no operation. No, you must do this thing because it's going to affect you. How could we tell her that, that Swami has said? So we told her that no, we want to do it. Some story we made up and told her that no operation now. All right. So soon after that, her other problem, the gynecological problem, also sorted itself out. And we completely forgot about this gallbladder stone. Completely forgot. And there was no need for any sonography or ultrasound to be done in the years after that. Come 2016, now it's more than 20 years, she came down with dengue fever. And her platelets came down quite alarmingly, and she had to be admitted to hospital. So she was admitted on an emergency basis to the hospital, and as part of the hospital routine, they have to do all these tests, whether required or not, chest x-ray, ultrasound, this, that. And I had to go out for a while, came back and found that she's still in the sonography room. So I go down there and she's on a wheelchair because she's exhausted. And she says that, look, the technician is going, this is the third time she's going around my abdomen and says that, so she first on, you have to drink a lot of water. And she said, look, I have to relieve myself. She said, okay. Came back, again went around. Again, after a break, again he tried, three times he tried. So I go down and meet this gentleman. He says that, can I ask you a question? I said, yes. He said, has your wife undergone any operation in the abdomen? I said, no. No, think about it and tell me. I said, I'm telling you, she had no operation. No, maybe a pinhole surgery. I said, even if that, there will be some scar. Have you seen any scar? He said, no, there was no scar. I said, what's the problem? He said, we can't find a gallbladder. And she obviously had a gallbladder, but it can't be found. So he's trying his best 3 times, but where will the gallbladder come from? And that's when the penny dropped. That Swami removed the gallbladder and stones. When it happened, we don't know. But when we went, she had a gallbladder, now there's no gallbladder. There's no gallbladder, no stones, no nothing. And, this, and we felt bad that we were not able to show our gratitude to Swami. But as I said, we have no clue till this day when it happened. It happened in 94, it happened in 2016, or any place in between. I have absolutely no idea. But that's how it was. And we feel sometimes that, the dengue fever was just an excuse for her to go to hospital, because otherwise we would not have, undergone sonography. I mean, there was no need, actually. So that's how it is, Swami did it. We don't know what he wanted, but this is what had happened. So I have tried to derive at lessons that we, from the experiences that we've had, what are the lessons that Swami tried to convey. So, as I said, during the construction of the Stupa Stamba in Puttaparthi 50 years ago, when Swami prevented rain from damaging construction work around it, it shows that Swami has total control over nature. He does it only when he feels necessary, but it was a very clear example. There is no other explanation. If Swami wanted, he could do anything he wanted. So that is one lesson that we learned, that Swami, if Swami wanted, he could have, he has total control. I mean, there is no doubt about it. The other thing was his love for devotees, both in my mother's case and my father's case. He came and said, this is it, no more births. Told my mother, told us that this is my mother's last bit. About my father, he says, yes, I'm going to give you mukti. So he never forsakes devotees. No matter when he says that I'm above you, behind you, beside you, he means it. And this is what he has shown, that he will never forsake a devotee. To come and see him in hospital, again, this a small gesture of lifting a bed cover and covering my father's foot. I mean, Swami is Swami. I mean, look at what he has done for a devotee. Something which we had ignored. We didn't notice all this, and Swami noticed it. Comes my elder brother. Elder brother, as I told you, had come in sometime in 1976. And he stayed inside Swami's residence for the 2-3 days that he had to be here. And Swami told him that, the problem is going to be serious. And he gave him a ring and told him, don't worry, it will be taken care of. So many a times we feel that if Swami is involved, we should have no problems. But it was his probably karma. It went on for 3 years. And it really shakes, when Swami says that, to see what kind of faith you have. Swami, it's like the nail story, that he, a nail on the wall, and then Swami shakes it to see whether it is strong enough to take the weight. Probably this was, and it took 3 years for my brother, and I've been there, I've seen it in my first hand, that, the faith that he had during this course of this period was really a lesser man would probably have not been at, had Swami not told him beforehand that don't worry about it, Swami will take care of it. That faith was able to make him withstand all the problems that he subsequently had to face. The rewards that he got later on was, 20 odd years of serving with Swami as in charge of Chaitanya Jyoti, and those are probably the best years of his life, to be associated with the construction, with running of the hospital, the museum, and often interactions with Swami. So he had that. That was the reward that he probably got for his faith. My sister-in-law was a physiotherapist, and she also took charge of the physiotherapy department in the general hospital. So this is the lesson that we learnt from Swami's this experience of ours. Again, we sometimes try to put our own views. When Swami has said something, we try to put in our own 2 bit to So when the question came of my marriage, and Swami said that yes, I will look for the girl, I will select the girl. We automatically assumed, when Swami is saying that obviously the girl would be from a Sai devotee family. Swami didn't say anything of that sort, but we assumed. And so, although we saw my wife in the first time, since they were not from Sai devotee, they were from a spiritual family, friends, everything, but we didn't take it seriously. But so this is something which we have unnecessarily complicated when it was not required. When Swami said this, that's it. No question, don't ask anything. Again, Swami sent me to Pune. We had this land which my father had bought when he was in the army. It was actually bought before. I'm 75 years old. He had bought this plot of land even before my birth. It had gone into some sort of legal problem because Urban Land Ceiling Act and whatever. But Swami asked me to construct a bungalow. I did it. He said 3 bedrooms, I made 3 bedrooms, fine. We still had adjacent land available. So on one occasion in Prashanti Nilam, we felt that why don't we give this land to the Central Trust to construct a Sai Center for the city of Pune. We didn't have one. So there was another devotee from Pune who was well-to-do, resourceful, and he said, okay, if you are willing to give the land, I will pay for the construction of whatever thing. So the idea was that we will have a bhajan hall on the ground floor and Swami's residence on top of that. And there'll be a terrace and all other activities, Bal Vikas, medical, whatever, would be on the ground floor next to the bhajan hall. So this devotee friend told me that, Jayant, do quickly, make a quick sketch of the project and we'll show it to Swami. So before doing that, we met Chakravarti Garu, who was then the secretary of the Central Trust, and we told him that this is what we want. Yes, it's fine. You can make a gift deed to the trust and we will take it over. So as we were going out, he said, but there's one thing that, Swami has to approve. So we assumed, obviously Swami has to approve. I mean, Swami will say, yes, we are doing something good for the city. So as I said, I made the sketch, went into Swami's room, and Swami asked me, what is this? I said, Swami, it's a sketch for a Sai Center in Pune. Why? So I said, Swami, Pune is a growing city. We don't have a center with all other major cities. Hyderabad has, Chennai has. We also need. He says, no. This is not your concern. I said, Swami, but let me. He said, no, don't open the. He said, keep the land. The land is for your children. Don't worry about the Sai Center. He didn't let me open the drawing which I had made also. So here we assumed that Swami would say yes. And it never occurred to us that Swami will say no, but he did. For reasons best known to Swami that, why he did, but we accepted. Again, this humility in Swami, asking my wife's permission for me to be part of the supervising team. I mean, Swami didn't have to do that. I mean, this is something which is, Swami is the Lord of the universe. I mean, asking a devotee for permission, come on. That is not, something, but this is what Swami showed us, what level of humility we can actually experience in this particular incident. During the course of the construction of the super specialty hospital, there is no way that we could have finished it. I mean, there is absolutely no way that in 5 months we could have completed the project. And it was actually Swami who did the whole work. We were just bystanders. And we took credit for whatever little I don't know what we did for. But it was Swami, it was a very clear indication that Swami was the doer. Absolutely, there's no question about it. Without Swami doing it, there was no way that we could finish an hospital. Maybe the building we could have done, but not a fully functional cardiothoracic operation theater with ICU and beds. No way we could have done it. So, a clear indication that Swami was actually the doer. The one thing also, during the course of the construction of the hospital, as I said, Swami, the earlier team had said that we have run out of funds, and Swami said, I will take care. And we realized that it was Swami's funds, that devotees who have paid for it. And we were always at loggerheads with Larsen and Toubro to avoid wastage. Now, they are a commercial construction company. They have been given a task of constructing at a given cost. And so they were not all that keen, wastage. And we knew that this is Swami's money. So we were constantly at loggerheads with them, saying that you can't waste this, you can't do this, you do this, do that. Came to a point where we started even arguing that can we reduce the specification of marble, and can we, instead of marble, can we put something else to reduce the cost? And Swami got to know about this, that we are being a hindrance to the project. So one fine on one of these visits to the hospital, Swami took me aside and said, don't worry about the cost. Don't worry about the cost. Swami will take care of the cost. There are enough people in the world who are willing to donate for a cause like this. Do not worry about the cost. He told me, show hona chahiye. Marble means marble. Granite means granite. Don't worry about the cost. He told me that because this hospital is meant for needy patients, it must not be a cheap hospital. The patients, when they come to the hospital, should feel that they have come to a palace, that they are not being taken for granted, that they are being given a VIP treatment in the most modern and the most palatial surroundings possible. So do not worry, just do it. Just do whatever is necessary. Do not worry about the cost. And which we saw also, that during the course of construction, many overseas devotees came and said, we'd like to pay for this, we'd like to pay for that. And Swami said, just do not worry about the cost. So again, as I said, we were fortunate that my whole family is involved, was and is. My son Gunaranjan as a student, my daughter Sumona was also a student. They are both overseas, and they both are a part of the alumni group in the UK and the US. And there is nothing more that we can ask. My wife is part of the Vidya Vahini program. I do a little bit of whatever is required, but it is a very satisfying experience that the whole family is involved in some sort of activity. Before I end, I would like to share with you a small, I would say a prayer, which I saw in Prashanti Nilan. It says like this: we asked for strength, and God gave us difficulties to make us strong. We asked for strength, and God gave us difficulties to make us strong. We asked for wisdom, and God gave us problems to solve. We asked for prosperity, and God gave us brain and brawn to work. We asked for courage, and God gave us dangers to overcome. We asked for love, and God gave us troubled people to help. We asked for favors, and God gave us opportunities. We received nothing we wanted, but everything we needed. Our prayers have been answered. Jai Sai Ram.
I deem it my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for today's occasion. Sri Jayanto Bose has made my job very easy by summarizing the essence of his own life, by culling out the valuable lessons that Swami taught him and his family through the various experiences that he has blessed his entire family with. Before Sir's talk, I asked him, "Sir, do you have a title for your talk?" Sir said it is just his experiences with Bhagwan. But as we got this wonderful opportunity to listen to his experiences, I believe that as Sir being the architect, as he was sculpting and designing Swami's building, unbeknownst to Sir, Swami was designing and sculpting his entire life. Swami chose where he had to go and work, whom he had to get married to, when his children would be born, what they should be named as, where they should be studying, what projects he should be working in, and more importantly, he became the doer and did the impossible through Sir. And we were indeed fortunate because we got to know the inner workings of several Swami's projects, which we've only heard of as stories that, 5 months Swami completed the super specialty hospital. But how did it happen? What were the difficulties and challenges, and how through his divine will and intervention alone, he made the super specialty hospital a reality. We are indeed grateful to you, Sir, for letting us have a glimpse of the divine glory through your unique individual lens today. I now invite Warden Sir and Sri Sathya Sai Sir to felicitate today's speaker, Sri Jayanto Bose. Today's talk is a wonderful example of how beautiful our lives would be if only we let Swami to be the divine architect of our lives. We would now like to express our gratitude to Brindavan Management Committee, Sevadal, Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization, and Swami for making this talk a reality. I also have a few announcements to make. Tomorrow morning being Diwali and Avatar Declaration Day, Omkaram Suprabhatam Nagar Sankirtan would happen in Trai beginning at 5 a.m. At 9 a.m. in Sai Ramesh Hall, there is a musical offering Sri Sathya Sai Pancharatna Kritis by Mahilas of Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization. We request all to participate post Arati in Trai Pradakshina without candles and partake Swami's Prasadam. Next month, Samarpan would be held on the 16th of November. We now request the speaker for the day, Sri Jayanto Bose, to offer Mangalarati to Bhagwan. Jai Sai Ram.
जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवर्धना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयो नीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयो नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्र शयन जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओ साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंतों को मंगल आरती अंतों को मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति शांति शांतिः समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांतिः जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई